Absolute Batman has taken over the industry. This Batman variant might be the hottest book of the year. Let's unbox it, let's talk about it, and let's see what all the hype is about. What's up, everybody? Hopefully you're having a great day. My name's Adam if you're new around here, and I have an insane package to open. Before we get into any of that, I'm going to ask you, did any of you get the chance to grab this Absolute Batman annual from Third Eye Comics, Felix Comics, Daniel Warren Johnson? If not, let me know down in the comments, how was your experience? A little later on, I'm gonna give you guys some tips and things of how to secure a variant. Make sure you're getting them drops and not missing out on anything. And let's also talk about some of the controversial topics and the things that kind of went wrong and went right with this drop, in my opinion, but nonetheless. So this is safely out of the box. Let's reveal. Shout out to Third Eye, shout out to Felix Comics. Great packaging job. It was double boxed with these little extra protectors on it, and I already cut it. So let's just move it. There she is. So I'm checking it out as we look, just checking out the spine, checking out the condition, all of that goodness. That is an absolutely insane comic. So if you do not know, this is Absolute Batman, the annual, the 2025 edition, just came out a couple months ago. And this was the Daniel Warren Johnson cover, limited to 1,000, that Felix comic and art and Third Eye Comics kind of put together. But it was very controversial, very, very controversial. If you want to call it that, we will break it down and let's get into it. Have it out of the bag and board, and I'll tell you why here in a second, but stay tuned to the end. We're gonna flip the camera back around and I will tell you some tips and tricks of how to make sure you can secure variants, even things that sell out in less than 10 seconds like this one. It is an absolute key when it comes to collecting. But I am very in tune with what's coming out, especially when it comes to Absolute Batman, one of my favorite books, and Daniel Warren Johnson, one of my favorite artists. I am a few months in advance trying to make sure I don't miss out on anything. And when they sent this email out that this was coming, I knew this book was going to be crazy. The Absolute Batman annual itself was already an insane book. It was still hitting like $20 or $30. This book sold for $80. It is now selling, I just checked eBay before I filmed this video, it is sitting around $400 to $612. So there's sales all in between. There's some $500 sales, but like I said, it was an $80 exclusive, which in some opinions, people think that's high, but if you follow Mark Spears and you follow some of the eBay lives, they're dropping their exclusives for $80 as well. So a little bit of a markup, but man, when your book is selling for that much money, it's insane. And like I said, if you're a publisher, if you're an artist, if you're anything, make that money. The reason it was a little bit controversial, and we'll break it down into sections. And the first section was they released, what was it? I was limited to 3,000. I think they released like 300 of them. I think it was like Cape and Cowl. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure that was the comic shop down in Florida or somewhere down there. They did a signing event where they had Daniel Warren Johnson, and I think it was Mike Spicer and a couple others. And they were offering these and they were having them signed, and then they were hitting the aftermarket and taking off. They even made an Instagram post where they were talking about it, touting how much it was taking off on the aftermarket. And like I said before, respectfully so, you know, credit is earned where credit is due. This is an industry about variants, about comics and things like that. So if you're making something that is going that crazy on eBay, on whatnot, whatever, you definitely should be taking pride in your book. And that's why there was the $80 markup. But do I really think there should have been them out in the wild ahead of time? No and yes. The reason I say that is because if you look on eBay, you can get pre-sales of books that aren't even out yet. 1 in 50s, 1 in 100s, ratios, variants, exclusives, things that are gonna sell out in seconds. There are already listings up on eBay, and that revolves back around to bots. If you're not familiar with the collecting community, bots are a thing. It's never gonna go away. There's cart protection, there's bot protection, there's all that kind of stuff, but it still happens. Example, yesterday I tried to get the Wheeljack Christmas variants. I was on there, I had everything set up. They sold out in like 2 or 3 seconds. So bots are always gonna be a thing. It definitely doesn't matter with your hobby. That gets me into the second point. Like I said, this sold out in about 10 seconds. And then a couple hours after this book was sold, only the people that purchased the book got an email that said, after the astounding success, blah, 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 blah. It was a whole thing. They said it might be going to second print, which at the time we didn't know. come full circle now. It is definitely coming back to second print. I don't know if this variant is, but Absolute Batman Annual is hitting a second print, so I can only assume. But in the email, they said it was going to be the exact same book, but on the back, it would say like second print there, second print there. Nothing would be different. Absolutely nothing would be different. Same trade dress, no foil, no version, no nothing. And it was going to be $40. Do I believe that's market manipulation? Do I believe that they knew that there was going to be a second print coming? Again, yes, maybe, and no, maybe. But man, if I knew there was going to be a second print, I had no intentions to resell this whatsoever. I just wanted it for my PC. I do want to get this signed and graded at one point. I think it would be absolutely awesome for the Daniel Warren Johnson collection. But I would have just waited for the $40 one. It's the holidays, money's tight for everybody, you know, it is what it is. But I would have just waited for the $40 version. Second prints don't really bother me. And that's where we're at. So I know a lot of people were kind of disgruntled about that. It sold out really quick. People were waiting for the email, even though they stated on the website and in the email and on the post to be on the website waiting for the link to drop and refreshing. If you waited for the email to come to your inbox, it was already sold out. Let me know down in the comments if you're able to get variants and things like that. It is tough out there. You really, really, really have to be prepared. And that is why I want to kind of break things down, show you a couple tips, talk about what I do for success. But the biggest thing with this video is I just wanted to show you this. I just got this in the last week. I have a lot of fire coming, and I knew I had to unbox this for a video because this is now one of my favorite books in my collection. And like I said, it's like a $400 to $600 book. So let's flip this camera around and break down what you can do to have success in picking up things like this in the future. So, like I talked about, like I said before, got this baby in a hard stack. You might be asking yourself, how do I get variants like this to be guaranteed to have success? So I'm gonna give you some tips and tricks of what I do, and hopefully it works out for you guys because it's tough out there in the streets, man. I believe everybody should eat, everybody should have a seat at the table, so everybody should have the same chance to success. We're not gonna be able to beat all the bots, but these are the things that I like to do. First things first, make sure you're informed. Do the research, make sure you're in tune with what's going on. Social media, Facebook, TikTok, whatever you guys use, if you're not following the right things, the right artists, the right crowds, you're gonna be totally missing out on things. The way the algorithm is, the way the Instagram is, a lot of times I see posts that are 2-3 days old at the top of my feed, so I've already missed out. So make sure you're in tune with what's going on, and then always recommend signing up for newsletters. I know you might get a lot of spam, things like that, but especially with its companies, shops, whatever artists that you're really into, make sure you're signed up for those newsletters because they're gonna be in your inbox, you're not gonna miss them, and those are gonna be kind of your early warning detectors for when things are coming out. Next, depending on what you use, a laptop, Android, iPhone, whatever it may be, I always use my phone for everything because I have Shop Pay on it, and that's the same thing as like Google Pay, Apple Pay, whatever. It has my information, my address, my card information, everything set up. So it's just a one-click purchase. So a lot of times if I'm not familiar with the website or if I haven't bought anything from them, make sure you're going in, setting up your account, setting up your whatever auto pay it is, making sure all your card information is up to date. So when it goes live, you're not scrambling. You don't even have to add things to your cart because that's a lot of things that bots do is when you're checking out, the thing might already be in your cart. But even with cart protection, like the Wheeljack drop from yesterday, I had them in my cart, checking out, they were still gone, and that was with Shop Pay. So just to give you an idea of how fast these things go, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, things are gone. The shirt I'm wearing, shout out to Civil Regime, sold out in like 15 or 20 seconds when they had their clothing drop a few weeks ago for Black Friday. So always make sure you have that one tap. You cut corners, you skip the lines, you do not have to add anything to your cart. It's a one tap purchase and you're good to go. Those are just a few things. Like I said, I wanted to go over, I needed to get this Batman unboxed. This is, like I said, one of my favorite books in my collection, $80 book. One of my favorite artists, one of my favorite reads, and now it's reselling for like $500, $600, $700. It's insane. So let me know down in the comments, do you think it was worth the hype? Do you think it was one of the more controversial books of the year? Are you reading Absolute Batman? If not, I definitely recommend grabbing trades, Don't worry about the hype. Don't worry about the variants. It is one of the best reads of the year. DC has been crushing it, and I'm an Image, independent, all that kind of stuff first and foremost. So shout out to DC, shout out to Felix Comic and Art. I had no trouble with the drop. I had no complaints whatsoever. I was a very happy customer. I'm just kind of explaining what the community kind of had in my opinion and what you guys can do going forward. So Third Eye Comics, Felix Comics, make sure you guys are checking out, because I know at the end of the year they have another design variant for that nasty absolute Joker coming out. So again, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys have a great holiday. Stay safe, stay legendary, but most importantly, as always, I hope you guys find what you're looking for. Thank you.